Good afternoon, everyone. If I could have your attention, we're going to start with the formal program for this afternoon. So this is where our webcast viewers join. So deja vu, we're going to start from the top. Everybody ready? Everybody ready? I thought this was an education crowd. Is everybody ready? All right. Good afternoon and welcome to our webcast viewers. My name is David Simmons, the director of the Canadian Club of Toronto, and I'll be your host. Viewers, thank you for joining us. Our club's tradition of providing a forum for leaders to share their ideas is second to none. It's an approach we've offered for 120 seasons. It seems to be working. Today's guest speaker is a great example. Before I formally introduce her, here's a snapshot of our upcoming events. This Friday, May 12th, we'll present our annual Canadian of the Year Award. This year's recipient is Lifeline Syria. You won't want to miss it. On Wednesday, May 17th, Patrick Brown, leader of the Ontario PC Party, will be at our podium. Order your tickets online at canadianclub.ca or .org, canadianclub.org. You can also join the conversation via Twitter and Instagram by following us at CDNCLUBTO or by using that hashtag. I want to express our special thanks to today's event sponsors, the Carpenters District Council of Ontario, represented by Mike York. Thank you for your generous support. If you don't know about the council, you should look them up. This morning I learned that carpenters work underground, they work underwater, they work in solar. I am a new fan of Carpenters of Ontario. It is quite something. I also want to acknowledge our youth and young leaders who are with us today. The Education Minister's Student Advisory Council is here. Where are they? If they can identify themselves, thank you. Let's acknowledge and welcome them. I always feel privileged to meet the student table at these events, and I should say that years ago when I was a student trustee, I wouldn't have thought I was at the podium of the Canadian Club. So continue to have a voice and to be a voice, because you guys are what's going to change society for the better. So thank you for being here. And now our guest speaker. According to a recent McKinsey & Company report, our province, Ontario, has one of the world's highest performing school systems, with top marks in both reading and math. With results like that, it could be quite easy to maintain the status quo. The government has other plans for the system, which feature almost 5,000 schools, 120,000 teachers, and over 2 million students. We are delighted that Education Minister Mitzie Hunter is here to share how her portfolio is preparing 21st century learners. She does not shy away from complex challenges. Many of us in the room know Mitzie personally. Prior to her current role as the MPP for Scarborough-Guildwood, she served as the Associate Minister of Finance, responsible for pension reform. She also gets city building, and she understands the importance of partnerships. Her education plan will require plenty of collaborative connections. It's fitting, then, that she was the most recently CEO of the Greater Toronto Civic Action Alliance, where she worked on social, economic, and environmental issues. She also served as Chief Administrative Officer at Toronto Community Housing Corporation, Vice President with Goodwill Industries, and as a Regional Director at Bell Canada. So, what's the plan for achieving excellence? How will we instill confidence in such a dynamic, complex system? The province's Chief Education Officer certainly has some answers. Members and guests, remember, if you have a comment or question, we'll take them at the end of her speech. But for now, the podium of the Canadian Club, Canada's podium of record, is yours. Please welcome Minister Mitzie Hunter.
Hello, bonjour, bozo. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to begin by acknowledging that Toronto is located on the traditional territories of Indigenous people, dating back countless generations. I want to show respect for their contributions and recognize the role of treaty making in what is now Ontario. Hundreds of years after the first treaties were signed, they are alive and they are relevant to us all today. Thank you so much, David. Indeed, I am amongst friends. So might I say, happy birthday. I want to thank you for that kind introduction, and I want to thank the Canadian Club for this invitation. I want to give a special welcome to the students here today. One of the great pleasures of being Education Minister is that I spend time with students and young people, and I get to hear your ideas, your enthusiasm, and the passion that you have. I'm so pleased that members of my Student Advisory Council are here today, along with 2 students from my riding of Scarborough-Guildwood. Saeed and Akifa, welcome, along with your teacher, Samira. The Canadian Club has always been a space for important conversations. So it is my honor to be here to discuss the work that we are doing to strengthen Ontario's world-class education system. Today, I want to talk to you about the future of education, about the ways in which we're preparing Ontario's students for success. I want to talk about how we're working hard to make certain that our public education system is a constant and dynamic source of opportunity and advancement for our young people. An equalizing force capable of lifting up students no matter where they live, no matter what their background or circumstance. And I think it's important to start a discussion like this by reminding ourselves what we're up against and why. The challenge that we all face, the goals we're trying to meet, the future we're trying to secure, and most important of all, the young people we're trying to support. Lately, the Premier has been direct in addressing this issue. The world in which we live is both changing and challenging. Many of us are anxious about what lies ahead and what it means for our families, about finding jobs in the future that will pay well, that will be secure, and that will provide the foundation to raise and to support your families. Trends that have long defined the pace of this change, like trade and technology, appear to be accelerating even further, leaving many of us anxious about where things will go next. In the face of such forces, governments will need to do more, be more active, more inventive, and even more committed to equality of opportunity, to ensuring that benefits aren't just generated, but that they're shared widely. We're doing that in Ontario with a variety of policies and approaches. It is why we've delivered the first balanced budget in a decade, so that we give ourselves the flexibility to invest and to act on our highest priorities. It's why we championed a stronger pension, a fight I was very proud to play a direct part. It's why we're expanding basic income projects to explore smarter ways of giving people a fair wage without discouraging them from finding work. And it's why we're partnering with industry to bring good and well-paying jobs to Ontario. But in this fight for fairness and against an uncertain economic future, our single biggest advantage, our best shield, and our sharpest sword is the system of public education. Education is the meeting place between social and economic policy. Our best chance of helping people find their way in this new world, and the surest way to get a good paying job is education. Education is the closest thing that exists to a secret weapon. And it is our obligation to see that it is offered to each and every one of Ontario's young people. And so, I begin by reassuring you that we've been working tirelessly to ensure the strength and quality of Ontario's public education system. And can take pride, you can all take pride, as I do, in what we've achieved together. The fundamental skills of reading, writing, and math remain essential to student learning, and we've recommitted ourselves to those basics. And at the same time, we're embracing new ways of learning, so that students are prepared and positioned to seize opportunities that will lie ahead in a new world defined by new trends and technologies. At the heart of our efforts has been the desire to make a good thing better, to ensure that Ontario's education system truly is a global leader. Not because we want to look good on an OECD report, but because we want our kids to have the best chance to succeed anywhere, anytime. Keep in mind that nearly 95% of students in our province attend public schools. The way that I look at that number, it's an enormous opportunity, because if we can get things right for that many young people, then we can get things right in a big way and for a long time. And so we've worked hard to make a difference during this past decade or so. To close gaps in student achievement, we dramatically reduced primary class sizes and put in place a focused literacy and numeracy strategy to raise the bar and to close the gap in student achievement. We hired a student success lead in every high school to lead re-engagement efforts, including dual credit programs with every local college. And we introduced full-day kindergarten for every 4- and 5-year-old so that parents had additional supports for their young ones. Together with these investments and with our education partners, we've transformed Ontario's education system into one of the best in the world, earning it an international reputation for excellence and equity, and leaving us uniquely positioned to meet the challenge of this changing world. Today, 71% of elementary students are achieving high provincial standards in literacy and numeracy. Ontario's grade 8 students are ranked the second highest in science and math in the country. And Ontario's students do outperform nearly every OECD country. In fact, no jurisdiction outperforms Ontario's 15-year-olds in reading in the last OECD assessment. New investments, as recent as just this past month's budget, signal our intention to further strengthen the fundamentals of this system and address urgent classroom priorities. For example, we will now hire roughly 2,500 new teachers and education workers to support students with special education needs and students at risk. And we're committing new resources to address mental health and well-being needs of students. To make sure that we're working to give everyone a fair chance at healthy learning and healthy living. I know that we have much work to do, but there are encouraging signs that we're on the right track. And most importantly, that we're helping students leave school with the skills, the confidence, and the knowledge that they need. In my opinion, the best way to measure this is to be found amongst our graduation rates, because they tell us that students have stuck with the system and that they're emerging with higher credentials and, by extension, brighter prospects. In that respect, I come to you today with some good news, some very, very good news. I am proud to say that Ontario's graduation rate has reached new historic highs. In 2016, the high school graduation rate was up to 86.5%. That's 1 percentage point over the previous year, and more than 18 percentage points compared to 2004, when just 2/3 of students were graduating. Today, of course, the grad rate isn't just about the number. It's the future success and well-being of our young people. In particular, I'm talking about the 217,500 additional students who have graduated as a result. Think about that. That's a population the size of cities of Kingston and Thunder Bay combined that now have a high school diploma. And with the new OSAP program providing free tuition to low-income students, so many more students are now positioned for success in post-secondary and beyond. This is a testament to the hard work of our students and the support of their parents, and of course, the dedication and professionalism of our educators across the province. I know many educators are in this room today, and I want to say thank you. This gives us good reason for optimism, but we're not done working, not by a long shot. Around the world, school systems are innovating and improving, and we can't rest on our laurels if we want to maintain Ontario's competitive edge. And that's why we're putting in place a focused plan to build on our successes and even better support Ontario's students. The first part of our plan is ensuring that students strengthen the core competencies that they will need for success in life. And our top priority is to improve achievement in math. While Ontario students continue to do well by international standards, the latest results from the EQAO show that there is room for improvement, particularly in elementary grades and in applied classes in secondary school. To tackle this, we introduced our renewed math strategy that provides additional math supports both inside and outside the classroom. For example, we're ensuring that students in grades 1 to 8 received 60 minutes of dedicated math instruction and learning per day. We've also worked with our education partners to establish up to 3 math leads in every elementary school that are supported to deepen their math knowledge through professional learning and to share their strategies for learning with other teachers in their school. We're also providing access to free online tutoring at home for Ontario certified teachers through Homework Help and SOS Devoir, providing students and parents with the assistance that they need. We're ensuring students, parents, and teachers have access to innovative resources like TVO's Empower, a fun online game that builds problem solving, critical thinking, and math skills designed for how students already engage with technology. I visited a school, St. Mary's Catholic Elementary School in Halton, and I had the opportunity to meet Maureen Aslin and her students. I especially enjoyed meeting Sophia, who showed me, she actually taught me, how to play Wildlife Crossing using Empower and principles of STEM. This is just one example of how technology can harness and drive student achievement with the input of Ontario's educators and students. And we must continue to think outside of the box when it comes to investing in our students, because we know that more than ever, technology is deeply embedded in our students' lives. And skills like coding and robotics will create new pathways for student success. We know that education system needs to respond to new ways of teaching and learning for students, which is why the second element of our plan is to put a new focus on reviewing our curriculum assessment and teaching practices to ensure that students are equipped with the skills and knowledge that they need for the 21st century. Global competencies like communication, creativity, and collaboration, supported by new and innovative approaches in teaching and learning practices enhanced by technology. We've put in place a provincial virtual learning environment to provide equitable access to e-learning courses and resources for Ontario's schools. Ontario's Technology and Learning Fund has supported students with new digital tools like tablets, robotics kits, 3D printers, and cameras, enabling students to express and demonstrate their learning in new ways, and is making classrooms more inclusive for students of all abilities. And it has also supported professional learning for teachers on how to effectively incorporate these tools into the classroom and to strengthen STEM education. But we also know that we need to ensure that schools have adequate broadband connectivity. And that's why we've committed to rolling out new infrastructure and to making it happen. In addition, I am pleased to share with you that we've set a goal that all students across Ontario will have access to industry standards of 1 meg per student, 1 meg per second per student. I want to underscore this point for a moment, because I know in the world of tomorrow, computing power will be the technological equivalent to fresh water. It forms the basis for achievement in virtually any and all fields. With this commitment, we are signaling that we appreciate how important it is that this resource be made available widely and fairly. Our focus here is on our students. Finally, students are pushing our classroom to integrate technology, and our students want more opportunities to gain hands-on experience linking what they are learning to the real world. And that's why the third part of our strategy is a growing emphasis on experiential learning, or learning beyond the classroom. The kind of schooling that gives students the chance to explore different career opportunities and helps them to develop the knowledge, skills, and attitude to transition successfully into post-secondary education, training, or the workplace. The centerpiece of this push is our Careers Kickstart strategy. It was introduced recently in our balanced budget. I'm pleased to say that this new initiative will provide nearly $190 million over 3 years to create 40,000 new work-related opportunities for students and recent graduates to give them the experience that they need to help land a good job or simply their first job. It will support the expansion of our renowned Specialist High Skills Major program to increase the reach of our program to 25% of grade 11 and 12 students. During this school year alone, 48,000 students were enrolled in the program, giving them the opportunity to explore their skills in one of 19 different economic sectors, such as construction, health and wellness, business and finance, agriculture, and transportation. I visited a SHISM program. That's what the acronym is for. And it was in Eastern Ontario, where the students were working at the local paper and chocolate factory, learning about journalism and reporting and food production linked to the region's agri-food industry, and gaining a competitive edge to thrive in today's competitive global economy. Incidentally, hands-on learning is an area where we can all contribute. So I urge you to consider whether there's an opportunity in your workplace to help equip and to support students, to offer a young person the invaluable opportunity of learning on the job, possibly at a job that they might grow to love as much as you all do. I want to close by emphasizing this point. Our public education system in Ontario is one of the best in the world. The task that we must take up is making certain that it becomes even better and that it benefits all of our Ontario students, and its benefits are shared even more widely. Ontario's diversity propels us to a unique level of international recognition. I don't need to tell all of you that diversity is indeed our strength. This past winter, I visited Carson Grove Elementary School in Ottawa, where about 100 new Syrian refugee students now attend school. In fact, they make up a full third of the school's population. I remember being struck just a few months after their arrival on how integrated they had become in the fabric of the school and how excited the kids were to play hockey with their new friends. One of the students said to me that going to school was like coming home. As we continue along the journey of the new frontier of learning, we must not lose sight of the role that inclusivity and equity play in our classrooms and our society. Our goal is to foster a space that welcomes students to share their unique experiences and celebrate their differences, so that everyone can learn from each other. When I moved from Jamaica to Ontario at 4 years old, my brothers and I learned from our peers. It's where we came together and where we were taught, but most importantly, it's where we learned to belong. I'm so thrilled that my younger brother, Andrew Hunter, is here today and can attest to the fact that school indeed was a major theme around the dinner table in our home. Classrooms must be beacons of hope, and as we move forward in equipping students with 21st century learning, we must reaffirm the importance of acceptance and equity in our schools. Students are now graduating at a higher rate than ever before, with a whole variety of skills that can transcend the current economic environment. We together, those here today, the educators, parents, community members, need to be preparing students with the tools and the competencies that they need to succeed. And I am so excited to keep building our province's reputation as a global leader in education by investing in what matters most, our students. I want to say thank you to the Canadian Club of Toronto for having me, and my thanks as well to every one of you for being here. As leaders in your fields, I hope you will consider how you can play a role in creating these critical learning opportunities for students to develop the skills and the knowledge that will guide them in their future and enable them to grow into the leaders of today and tomorrow. Thank you, merci, and miigwech.
Okay. Thank you, Minister Hunter.
Yes.
We only have a few minutes left, so I'm just going to do 3 questions, and I've themed them. So please excuse me, I'm not going to do them verbatim. This is not adherent to the MLA reference style. I'm stealing your words. So one of the themes we heard about is disruption in your speech, and one of the people in the audience has asked, how is the system going to respond to disruptors like Khan Academy and storefront tutoring and all these sorts of things that are happening?
You know, I emphasized in my remarks today the importance of public education, because I think that that is the bedrock of our communities in Ontario. 95% of students attend our public education system, but our system has to continue to respond. And it's okay, I've seen that across our school boards as I travel this province. I try to actually visit one school each week as an education minister. And I see that schools are making partnerships, and they are pushing the envelope. So I don't think that we have to fear other programs that rise up and that are providing students with an opportunity to learn and to grow. But I think our focus at the ministry and as a society has to be the public education system. No matter where students enter in or at what level, that they receive the support that they need so that they can grow and be the best that they can be, right? I know that all parents, they want their son or daughter to become a contributing citizen to society, and they're going to want that support. So I don't fear disruption. I don't fear innovation. I think, in fact, what I say, because I often have an opportunity to meet with different people, and I say, you know, our students, we don't have to fear the future. Our students are going to create the future. They're the ones that will face the challenges, face the problems. I was in a classroom with one of the WE School programs, and I remember a young girl, she's probably in grade 5 or 6, and each of the students were talking about why they participated in the program. And her phrasing was this: I want to solve the toughest problems and the toughest challenges in our world. And that's what was driving her. And I think she will grow up to be a citizen that continues to embrace that philosophy.
Hear, hear. Let's solve the big problems, right? Yes. All right. Here's another one for you. Music education. The data says it's helpful to us to have it in schools, to have access to it, helps complete the whole person. What are your thoughts on music education and the role it can play in our school system?
Okay, so last week was Education Week in Ontario, and I had an opportunity to visit Rose Avenue Public School. And they had, it's in St. Jamestown for those of you, and they had a fantastic music education program. The entire school, trustee Chris Moyes is here, you were there too. They have a fantastic music education program. And it was inclusive, we were learning about the tabla drums, and it was just so fantastic. We learned to do I learned to do a jig, a Métis jig. So music education needs to be integrated broadly in our school system. And when Premier Wynne provided us with our mandate letters, that was something that I asked to be included in mine, to ensure that we have arts broadly, so music is part of that as a focus for Ontario's education system. And that's something I'm very much looking forward to continuing to build.
Wonderful. I want to thank Minister Hunter again for taking a few questions. Cognizant of your time, before we leave, I'll invite Willa Black, a director of the Canadian Club, to offer our formal thanks.
You can stay here, but I'm not being rude, but turn my back to you. Minister Hunter, on behalf of the Canadian Club of Toronto, I'd like to thank you for sharing your ministry's bold plan for developing 21st century learners. We know that education is the passport to success, and it is so exciting to know that Ontario's students outperform every OECD country and that our graduation rates are at all-time highs. That's fantastic for us all. We're also heartened to know that this government is so committed to a mandate to give all students access to healthy learning and living. Your ministry's goals for learning clearly put the student at the center of education. We agree with you that we cannot rest on our laurels. With the top priority on STEM disciplines, this will serve Ontario well by focusing on the competencies and skills that will fuel 21st century innovation. As you say, more than ever, technology is embedded in our students' lives. The way we engage with technology to enable a dynamic experience is critically important. So too is the desire to connect, to drive experiential learning, and to support the learning journey from childhood into adulthood. Minister Hunter, we thank you for your leadership in helping to shape a dynamic, world-class education system as an enabler of success. So thank you. You did great. And before we conclude, let me extend another round of thanks to today's event sponsor, the Carpenters District Council of Ontario. Thank you so much. We would also like to thank MediaEvents.ca, Canada's online event space, and VVC for live streaming today's event. Thank you all so much for coming. To learn more about the club, we invite you to visit us at canadianclub.org, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much.